Hi, I was very tempted to bring out the whole poetry session for the sake of other people, how we guys, the people of mind, the people of art, the people of passion, leisure, and aesthetics come on one platform to share what we see, which others miss. But frankly speaking, that's one thing which I cannot officially be doing because that's little sort of breach of the protocol if I did that. So I don't want to do that. So in my mind, I figured out that maybe I can record kind of exactly what we guys do over there and how interesting the things go and why on a Saturday and Sunday I look forward to, you know, um, doing anything I want during the day, but keeping my evenings, my whole schedule free so that I can really put some time and effort with my intellectual folks over there, sitting in Washington, D.C., sitting in Brooklyn, sitting in maybe Philadelphia. So these are the people, um, who have a hold on every aspect of contemporary, Victorian, and modern poetry. And to some extent, I also believe that it's not just poetry they seek attention to, they are very well read, very authorized, kind of scholarly and scholar people. For me, they come across as an amazing set of people who really understand and value each other. We are very close knit, and whatever work we do, it's under like our Professor Elflaris mentorship, and all his impact, his inspiration is always behind us. And after all, we are his class, 2012. Um, so today, let's go to the details. I come across as a very fantastic person over there. People look forward to seeing me there because they're fascinated. My friends, my circle over there, they look forward to receiving me because they find me little crazy and little out of the context, little uh, a kind of person who would not stick to the rules, who would like to be totally go on the spot, spontaneous, instant kind of referencing and all, nothing. Just on the spot, coming up with a thought, coming up from subconscious memory, or some additions from my own persona. So I am the most cherished person in their group, coming from India. Uh, Here I would love to say, yesterday I was having a conversation with Vishal. Now Vishal is a very darling person. And Vishal was actually just talking about that the US and UK English is like people are very particular and fanatic about it. Well, I understand he might be talking about the corporate culture over there. Yes, the people are very marketing focused, so they don't bloody go and waste their time writing anything stupid or, you know, coming up with something which is not selling. There is a point in that. So American economy is known for that, and US, the UK, their stiff, tight-lipped approach to the things. I mean, that gives me a little high for the very personal notes of mine. I was a one person, when I was growing up. London was on the top of the list where I would probably go because of its rich culture, because of its, I think, totally for culture perhaps. I am not impressed by anything else, but London comes across to me as a kind of city, a kind of town, a kind of place I actually uh, grew up that I will one day be gone there. Yes, and I'm like pretty okay. But the thing is, after like years and years have passed, I understand that I have my love for India also. Then my US things. I can go there as well. I have things going on there. But again, uh, being an Indian, staying in India is also not that bad, trust me. I mean, I can go away, I might go away, but my heart would stay still in India always, because I find my country, my soil, my motherland, my people, it's difficult for me to just take away my hand and go away. Because then, once you're gone, the chapter is closed, you will come back, it's not sure. What will you do there? Your identity and all what you have made of yourself, no clue. But yeah, there is a possibility that uh, my friends may drop by, and maybe we go places, and maybe I go there, or maybe I don't know. I don't know what is in the destiny for me. I mean, there is something, I'm sure, and it shows up at its own pace. That also I know. But yeah, that's something. Now coming back to our poetry sessions, then. So in the beginning, I came across as a very last person today, because Anthony was not there, and I was not anchored. Anchored in the sense, usually he's the guy who tells me, okay, let's jump to this. Okay, so he's like my guiding angel. Other people, how do I just go and say, hey James, what are we doing now? Hey John, which stanza are we starting reading? I mean, this doesn't happen. You have to have some kind of respect for the protocol. So I was like very well behaved. So they were done with one discussion round, and James suddenly asked me, Sumita, what's your opinion? And I was like, you know what? I have no idea what we were reading today, because I didn't have the list for that. Because we were doing Eliot, and Eliot had these four quartets going on, and fourth we had just finished writing notes and making kind of research things. But second quartet, I was in the impression that second is like, that's why we jumped on the fourth, right? So I was like totally kind of lost case. So very politely, James told me, Subita, we are doing the second quartet today. I said, okay, let me read and let me come up with my observations, though I would not have any observations, because Eliot, I love him, because in the first place, in the very childhood, I mean, my first poem for the Eliot was Prelude. And the Prelude was like, my teacher used to teach like a kind of literature kind of stuff with all explanations and references. But for me, it was like the winter evening settling down. Again, it was a London casino. I never saw the wasteland as a kind of war influence. I never saw Eliot as a kind of person who was whatever. For me, a poem has some kind of structure. A poem has some kind of thought of the poet. It's a canvas of the expression, and that's it. But no, these intellectual people, I mean, we intellectual people have to dig down deep. We have to figure out, okay, what was he doing there? What was happening with the season? What was happening with that word? Why did he use the word ashes? What was the wind doing? Oh, please, but we do that. So we went and finished our second quartet today, and then, frankly speaking, James took over the conversation, and I was grateful. Then Ursula came, and she's like former editor-chief of Washington Post, and I'm quite proud of her. I'm really quite proud of her. I mean, the way she brings the things, the way she brings the depths, the heights, the plateaus. I mean, oh, it's impressive. I mean, I remember we usually go for two sessions. So first is on the Saturday nights, and then we proceed and we have it on the Sunday evenings, and then we keep on exchanging notes during the weeks and all. So we keep quite track of each other, what we are doing and all that. So Ursula, I remember we were reading about this, what was the name of that Browning's wife, yeah, Elizabeth Browning, yes. So we are recently reading her contemporary novel. Uh, So we are dissecting that and coming up with our gist of what we want to check her out for. So Ursula, she steps in and she starts, you know, really talking with a lot of passion and energy. The way she says, the poet, the writer wants to, and I'm like, I love her. I love her like that for that. I love the people who really lose the track of who they are, what they are doing. They go so flowing with the what is happening over there, and I was like, I took notice of Ursula, and Ursula has been my favorite till since then. So Ursula today was joking around with everyone. They are actually going to meet for the next meeting in person, and they invited me. I mean, how do I go? So they were joking, maybe they can get me a tourist visa. But no, they will send me a Zoom link. And they said they won't feed me because food is like, how do they feed me over the Zoom? That's the only thing which I will miss, but I will be the part of their group. I will be the part of the group, and I will be really enjoying. And we will have some fabulous poetry. Next week, I too plan to take my Vikram Seth. Yeah, why not? I mean, his bureaucrat poems are beautiful. People would love that. People would really love that because Indian bureaucracy is like snob, yes. They have style, yes. They have expression, yes. They are brilliant, yes. They are intellectual, yes. They are so market savvy, yes. They are Americanized, yes. Actually, I'm in love with bureaucrats. That's my problem. So, in the first few minutes, I was lost. Then I think my chaps took hold of me. Okay, she has to be streamlined. So they started sending me the links. They started sending me, the notes. So they made me kind of engaged, and then they kept on talking to me on and off. They kept on asking me my opinions, and it makes me feel so special. I mean, it does make me feel so special. But they love. I mean, I also sometimes wonder. My remarks can be so childish at sometimes, and they are so learned people. They are so well educated and into the stream. And here I am. I mean, what? What does Sumita know? I mean, I can't be literally. I forget the second word of what I'm talking about, and they put me into that particular class of people. What the hell am I going to do with them? But yeah, I don't backpay. I mean, I really talk. I really tell them what's going on in my mind, and that's what they love about it. And that's what I wanted to show to Vishal. Actually, Vishal, see, people are not so worried about our language, our accents, our words, our choice of apostrophes and columns and commas. They love who you are. Yeah, maybe next time I will give him a lecture. No, but I like him as well. I will talk about it separately. Yes, I did find him impressive, yeah. So, I want to read out one poem which we were sort of going through, and we read many, and we made notes for many. We extracted for whatever our writing was about for. So, this poem really was by Billy Collins. We were getting into modern and contemporary, so we took out this one. It said, just you don't worry about anything else. Just keep on hearing what I am about going to read in this poem. I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to the light like a color slide. See the beauty of it. The name of the poem is Introduction to Poetry. And this is often the subject of our discussions, that what right do we have to keep on adding our own observations to the poetry, our own thoughts to the poetry, our own contributions to what the people have already written. So here was our answer, and it was a very interesting answer. So we were like going gaga over it. James had something to add. He is a very learned guy. He comes from some very impressive background. I am forgetting what was that. So I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to the light like a color slide. I mean, examine the poem. Or press an ear against its hive. I say, drop a mouse into the poem and watch him probe his way out. See the beauty of it. The poem is about light. The poem has been written. Now the writer wants, the poet wants this thing to be treated like this. You have to be very much probing into the poem. You would have to be looking at all the aspects. And the funniest part is that you may never even know what the poem, what was going on in the poet's mind, because this is a dilemma. I mean, I write a poem and I go away. Then people like Anthony, they keep on asking, hey Sumita, what was that about? Can you please tell? Can you please? I mean, how do I tell? That's one moment you have written and you're gone out of it. But that's exactly my question was to my people. I said, I mean, why to worry? What was the references and all? But no, we need to know what was going on in the mind of the poet, and that also uh, gives wings to the poem. But at the same time, it makes the poet vulnerable to the dilution of what he wanted to say, the messaging of the poem. I say, drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out. That's fun. Have you ever caught a mouse in the mouse trap and just watch it coming over there? Exactly. Or walk inside the poem's room. I mean, treat poem as a room. And feel the walls for a light switch. I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? I want them to wear a sky. I mean, like this. Across the surface of a poem. I mean, on the top rim of the poem. Just wear a sky. Waving at the author's name on the shore. And acknowledging there was somebody who did this, who wrote this beautiful piece. But all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with rope, and they want to do it this way. Wow, what a torture. And torture a confession out of it. I mean, that's exactly. They're not people. The critiques, maybe I would have to add to it now that maybe the poem is about critiques. Maybe I read this poem somewhere in my curricula. Now I can vaguely remember this. They begin beating it with a house to find out what it really means. I mean, that's exactly people do. I remember the poems which I used to read, whether it was Harivansh Rai Bachchan or whether it was there was a very sweet guy, I'm forgetting his name. Wordsworth though was my favorite in the English poetry because I could really connect with it. The woods, the Lucy Gray, the nature, the beauty, the solitary reapers and all that. I mean, I could figure it out for myself. That was easier for me to go to. Shakespeare was also my favorite. I never understood his theater though. But I used to love his sonnets. So this was like interesting. The poet in the one place wanted people to check out what the poem means. But at the same time, he's saying, oh my God, they bring their narrow-minded in. They stop doing it like methodically. They stop doing it like creatively. And all they do is to give it some sort of meaning which is not there, which is like berserk, which is like something which the poem is not meant for. And this is all about the modern poetry. That's exactly what I find so very fascinating about it. I mean, I become very self-conscious when the people want to jot down the recorded version of the things. I don't relate to that because it's not happening. If I have to talk about an idea, if I have to write about an idea, it would be very instant and it would be like I jot it down and I go away. What happens is like people's problem at that point. The writer moves on. That's the point. let's see what happens next week. So next week would be, we will be getting too deep into, of course, the same subject, contemporary, but the poems and the write-ups might be different. We have a specialist dropping by, not in this session, maybe Sunday's session. So she is a professor of some feminism sort of stuff, and she comes across as a very passionate speaker. I mean, I was joking with Anthony. She speaks like, I want to say it like that, I want to say it like that, like this. But yeah, again, she's passionate about her subject. So all is fair in love and war, all is fair in poetry and the poetry sessions, all is fair and all is well with the intellectuals all over the world. That's it. So wish you guys all a very happy weekend. Thanks for being the part of my poetry musings, and I would love to come back to you guys very soon. Ciao. Bye bye.